Yo guys, today we're going to watch a lore video from this guy. I have seen one video from him, which is the resonator one, and I feel like he's a I feel like the way I feel like he's a good one of those what I call content creators that I feel like is good to hear whenever they speak about the lore. From my experience, from how they explain the resonators. So yeah, let's watch this. It's about the lament and the origin of Solaris. I want to know this.
Throughout the centuries, countless species that have existed, almost all are gone, lost to time, to change, to inevitability. Though humanity has transcended tooth and claw,
so cinematic?
it
What the
will
hell?
one day join them. It might be buried deep in an unfathomable future, as it might take eons, but extinction waits for them all. The road ahead is uncertain, and its end could never be too far.
Enter Solaris 3. Why is it called Solaris 3? Why put Solaris 1 and 2?
In this world of withering waves, imagine a time when humanity has long since adapted to a hostile environment, with roaming monsters and raging disasters. Darkness, global destruction, and unrelenting earthquakes have thrown the planet into chaos.
What the fuck? That scared me for a second.
In spite of this, humanity has avoided extinction. Yet, in this new world, the different laws of nature were changed, the weight of gravity reversed, and now it all revolves around this idea of sound and frequency. It's only up to humanity now, whether hope is enough to carry them through to survival. This is Wuthering Waves, and it has tons of lore behind it. So, let's talk about it.
The concept of sound.
Now, before we unfold this post-apocalyptic world of Wuthering Waves, let's first delve into the idea or initial concept behind it. If we take this interview with Dong, one of the developers, he mentioned that the inspiration behind the world building of Wuthering Waves is from Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding. Examples are the Retroact Rain, similar to Death Stranding's Timefall, Tacit Discord similar to the BTs, and both environments set after a cataclysmic
I never played Death
event.
Stranding, so I don't know.
So during the early stages of development, the developers envisioned a dark and gritty atmosphere, a treacherous terrain where players can become familiar with, keeping in tone with the themes we saw in Death Stranding. However, in their first closed beta test, a majority of the community made some criticisms regarding the desaturated tone and bland themes of the game's world, as well as a whole pile of localization issues with the story and dialogue. Taking this feedback into account, Kuro decided to make the world more saturated with colors and bright environments, as we can see from this footage from the second closed beta test. As for the story, I read some comments from users that it was kind of boring and filled with bloated terms that made the player confused. So with this, after the second closed beta test, the same developer, Dong, mentioned in another interview that they rewrote 90% of the
90%? Holy shit, that's a lot. Damn. 90% of the story has been completely written. We only had 6 months to make all those achievements when we had been developing our game for 2 and 3 years. Holy shit. Damn. The complaints from the... Damn, they do listen. What the heck? They rewrote 90%?
story, taking them 6 months to do, which in their case was such a short amount of time. In spite of this, Dong also mentions that although the game underwent a massive amount of changes, they still kept in line on how they first envisioned it to be. It's still going to be this post-apocalyptic environment, and the various ruined skyscrapers, broken highways, and scattered cars we can see in the released version is proof of that. Now, watching their past videos on how they were creating the setting for the game, they mentioned that it was quite a new challenge for them, since this was their first open-world game, as well as the first to be developed using the Unreal Engine 4. Safe to say that after version 1.0, they've made quite a lot of improvements for the game, updating the exploration mechanics, UI and equipment system, and improving the writing for the story, as we evidently saw by version 2.0.
Yeah, 2.0 is
Okay,
better.
with that out of the way, what is then the plot behind Wuthering Waves? When did it all start? So as for the story, it begins in the 21st century era where humanity was at its peak of technological innovation. However, it all was destroyed due to a cataclysmic event called the Lament. It was this destructive force that suddenly appeared out of nowhere, redefining the laws of nature, causing gravity loss, and started a whole chain of disasters, with earthquakes and tsunamis. It reshaped the world by making it revolve around the concepts of sound and frequency. Soon, various monsters appeared from deep beneath the oceans, destroying what's left of the coastal cities, and went further inland. These creatures would be later called Tacit Discords, or TDs. Now, before getting to what happened next, was it ever revealed who was the one responsible behind this lament? Well, from the first closed beta test, it was explained that an otherworldly being caused white strings to rise up to the sky and took control of the planet's fate. Now, we're not sure if this was kept in the released version of the story, but it's possible that this being is the same with this mysterious woman who appeared in the opening cutscene for the game. We're not entirely sure if this mysterious person is a friend or foe, but let's assume that Kuro would explain this in the future. So anyways, what happened next? From the lament, which means an expression of grief or sorrow, it nearly resulted in the extinction of humanity, destroying countless countries, marking a time of grief for the whole world. Regardless of that, some of humanity survived, taking refuge within underground areas such as metro stations, bunkers, and even sewer systems, giving them a slight chance to rebuild civilization. Now, in the first closed beta test, the time that took humanity to rebuild and return to the surface took them 100 years to do.
Damn, the beta test really explained it very to. I wonder if I play the beta test, would I think it boring? Like, who knows actually. But the fact that they explain very explicitly how many years it took for them to rebuild, while the game itself didn't. It didn't know. Well, it doesn't. Well, it doesn't mean the beta. It doesn't mean they use the same time period for the beta, right? Like, there's a chance that they might prolong this or make it shorter. Like the fact that Rover, before Rover wiped his mind 20 years ago, he still has his mind intact and still was active, and he was a student of what?
And it was initially planned that Rover and their story would start around the year 160. However, since this was an unrealistic time frame for humanity to rebuild society from scratch, it was
Rover looks chopped. What the hell?
Unrealistic time frame for humanity to rebuild
he looks weird here.
Society from scratch. It was massively changed and
even this looks
written for version 1.0. Therefore, in the final release, after the lament, 4 more incidents came after.
Oh, 4 more incidents.
And all this happened within the span of 10,000 years. So
10,000 years. Okay, they really prolonged that. Holy fuck, how many lament?
Surprisingly, humanity would manage to survive these 5 occurrences of the lament and eventually rebuild their societies.
They no wonder Rover is really want to. Like, the moment the lament happened again, then like we don't know when. I wonder when Resonant appears during this time. Like, which lament? Is it the first lament that Resonant now exists, or is it one of the, like, I don't know, because we know that a lot of the Resonators we currently have in our era, the current era, is very strong, but we don't know if they are strong enough to actually fight back the lament. Maybe they will able to fight the lament, but it's possibly going to have many sacrifices then.
Having 6 nations now present with Huanglong, Renacita, and the
6 nations. Huanglong, New Federation, Renacita, Lahai Roi. There's two more. Okay. Oh, it's only 6 nations? Interesting. I didn't know that. Oh my, I thought they didn't confirm how many nations are in Solaris, but no, they did confirm it.
New Federation.
What country is New Federation? Like we know Culture is from there, but
As the
and also we know Lane from the is there as well. For but the name doesn't really sparks like I don't know Culture's name.
first three. But wait, how did humanity return to this stage of their civilization? How did they manage to survive 5 versions of the Lament? Let's first take note that we are currently in the post-Lament era of the game's overall timeline. This is indicated via these posts from the official posts of Wuthering Waves.
Okay.
That said, in this span of 10,000 years, it is somewhat of the dark ages of Wuthering Waves since there's little we know about this period. If you explore or read some of the archives in the game, they reveal absolutely little. We only got bits of info on this by the Tethys system from the Black Shore's quest.
Okay.
So, to make it easy to follow, let's name this time of 10,000 years as the Lament Era.
The Lament
Now,
era.
as far as we know, we only have this black and white cutscene of Rover's past taken from the first closed beta test. It's clearly not meant for a final release, but it hints that Rover was once part of a civilization that existed during this Lament era. With no other clues as to where or when this happened, let's then talk about how
I wonder, like, since I wonder if like we know that Rover wiped his memory, but we don't know. But there's a chance he wiped his memory many times though, just to preserve his morality and humanity. Like like 5 Lament, and he's the first resonator, mind you. So we don't know when, like, he exists during that time period. But if he's, we need to know when does resonator exist, and if we know that, then we know how long um he has lived so far. So yeah, let's hear. But it's when. Oh man, I don't think they will explain just yet when um resonators exist. Like,
humanity eventually relocated to the surface. Following the first ever lament, the survivors who fled underground eventually recovered by forming new communities within the metro stations and sewers. As time passed by, these small communities grew to large societies, which ultimately posed a problem.
Yes.
The living spaces underground were getting too crowded, so they tried to return back to the surface, yet quickly noticed that it had become inhospitable by the effects of the lament. But how exactly was it inhospitable? Well, while there were still the creatures that roamed the surface, there was also this so-called disruptive white noise
what the fuck is that?
that was deadly to a human's nervous functions.
Okay.
Because the Earth's laws of nature were changed, the humans needed to adapt and find subtle ways to allow them to return to the surface. So what did they do? Within the underground colonies, humanity began inventing these special suits that allowed them to suppress this white noise and safely traverse the surface.
Interesting.
Little by little, the humans
Damn, they need to create a suit that looks like a space suit, but just for the surface, for the Earth's surface.
went out from their underground homes, reclaiming the world. So, where are these suits now? Why can't we see them used by most people?
Yeah.
Well, it's because these suits were uncomfortable for everyday use, and most of the population felt restricted when wearing them. Didn't we all feel the same way wearing these face masks or
Okay, good example.
face shields during the pandemic? To solve this issue, they invented these gourd-shaped terminals, geared
Oh, so this terminus as a suit? Okay, interesting.
with the same protective effects of the suits they made. These terminals are now mostly used by our characters and are often carried in their waists. Thanks to these terminals, humanity was able to come out from their underground colonies and relocate on the surface.
Damn, the terminus are very important. What the heck? I didn't expect that. Damn, I didn't know the terminus was that important. Like, it literally like I've seen that the new terminal, which is from Roy, helps us fight the what you call the dark void or something, the void storm in a way, so that our frequency doesn't get devoured. But I didn't know that it helps us live in the surface from that white noise or something. What? I didn't know that.
Eventually
Interesting.
naming the world as Solaris 3.
What?
Now, why Solaris 3? Well, the word Solaris comes from the Latin language meaning of the sun.
Of the
So
sun.
this implies that it is the third planet located.
Oh, that's actually smart. Like Earth is the third planet, and they okay. That's a interesting. So I guess all of them are just Solaris too. Okay, it's a good name, but it just means that the other planet is going to have the same name then Solaris.
From the sun. So that's basically the whole plot point they had in mind for how Wuthering Waves started. And this story already kind of reminds me of books like the Metro series and other post-apocalyptic dystopian plots. So you may have noticed some technical terms such as resonators, remnant energy, tacit discords, vernodians, and more. Well, these are all words taken from the glossary of sound and frequency, which was what the developers of the game, Kuro, used in creating their own fictional version of planet Earth. To try and explain these terms, let's first start with the retroact rain. This is a type of phenomenon showing projections of past events and appears as a typical rainfall, but the droplets fall upward, defying gravity and further disorienting those below. The first recorded entry of the retroact rain started 3 years prior to the main story. For the etheric sea, it's an atmospheric phenomenon where an inverted sea is suspended in the sky.
Oh, okay. I was confused when this happened, and I don't know how we go down, actually. I guess we fall? That's actually insane.
It appears randomly, and as noted by Yang Yang, whenever the etheric sea shows up, tacit fields would normally form below.
So it happens randomly, the etheric sea, so we just random. Okay, wait.
For the etheric sea, it's an atmospheric phenomenon where an inverted sea is suspended.
Wait, does the etheric sea happen whenever the retro rain happen? Does it coincide? Coincide, is that a word? Does it connect? Is it connected? Like the etheric sea is created when retro rain happen? Because retro rain does take water and shoot it upwards. It's like opposite rain, right? Rain in reverse. But where does that rain go? Obviously it becomes like this, right?
In the sky. It appears randomly, and as noted by Yang Yang, whenever the etheric sea shows up, tacit fields would normally form below. As for tacit fields, these are hazardous zones and are simply the birthplace of tacit discords. These monsters that appeared in the Lament, they are distorted figures in the form of cars, wolves, boars, traffic lights, and even plants. In the game's mechanics, once these tacit discords are killed, they turn into reverberations, somewhat appearing as phantoms that one can absorb using their gourd-shaped terminals, called the Pangu terminal. Once they are absorbed, the person can summon them as echoes, similar to that of trainers in the Pokemon universe, where they command them to fight on their behalf. Now, if we combine these three, the retroact rain, etheric sea, tacit fields, they are collectively termed as the wave-worn phenomena.
Oh, so...
Now, lastly, remnant energy. Simply put, remnant energy is the residue left behind after the Lament. We see the same case whenever a nuclear bomb is detonated in an area and leaves radioactive.
Okay, let me hear that again.
The residue left behind after the Lament. We see the same case whenever a nuclear bomb is detonated in an...
So the Lament is just a... What the heck? The Lament is just a nuclear bomb? What?
Area and leaves...
I gotta understand, but damn, the Lament... What the hell?
Radioactive dust. It makes up all of the things I mentioned earlier, even the entirety of Solaris 3. It is invisible and intangible, but it is present in all living things. So with that said, I admit it was all overwhelming when I started playing the game, but I hope I've made things easier to grasp these technical terms used in Wuthering Waves.
Are we talking about Huanglong?
Moving on to how Huanglong started. Huanglong is the first of 6 nations in Solaris 3, with Renacita and the New Federation as the others. So when did Huanglong begin, or how were they founded? Remember when I said that the humans eventually returned to the surface and rebuilt their societies? Well, here comes another disastrous event called the Advent of the Crownless
Oh.
and the First Fernodian Wars.
Oh.
Now, before that, what is a Fernodian?
I know what
It's
Fernodian.
rooted from the word Fernodi, which means a song of lamentation for the dead.
Oh damn, what the hell?
When it comes to the Fernodian, there is a lot to tell. These Fernodians are some of the early monsters that appeared during the First Lament and aren't
Early
your
monsters.
typical enemies. They are the final bosses of the story and are described as formidable, embodies humanity's fears and sorrows, and are all massively huge. From the first act of the game, it was mentioned that Fernodians and humans have been at war for centuries, and this is because you can't entirely defeat or kill a Fernodian, since they always return and revive themselves.
That's
There are
bullshit.
different Fernodians in each nation, with Overtrax in Huanglong and Leviathan in Renacita. Taking some bits of lore from the first closed beta test, Huanglong was founded in the early years of the Fernodian Wars. Humans at the time were fighting against Overthrax and its minions, the Crownless. However, this was leading up to huge losses.
Is this post Lament? I guess so, right? This is post Lament. And I guess the 6th Lament hasn't happened yet. I guess this is post Lament.
For humanity. Then, at some point, a small expedition team was able to come upon a huge sleeping dragon inside an ancient ruin. It was none other than Jue, taking the form of a long. The expedition team informed the leaders at the time and arranged a meeting with Jue, asking for her help against Overthrax. Jue agreed and allied herself with humanity, eventually ending the First Fernodian War, leading to a great victory.
So what is Jewel then? What is the Sentinels? What are these Sentinels? And since we know that this is after the I still don't know if this is post. Like they need to show the timeline, but so far he didn't say when. I don't know. Like he didn't really specify what lament, which lament is during the the timeline is. Like this Trinodian War, it didn't really specify what lament, how is it post lament? Maybe it's post lament since he's showing this the white thing and this he shows everything. Like if he did say is this is post 5 lament. Like if he said that he doesn't know. Like if he said this is after or during the lament era, then he would just put I don't know. he will just say it's from the lament era. But
and
this is
the
after the
founding
lament
of
era.
Huanglong. Now, you may have noticed the term Tacitite shown in numerous item
Tacitite
descriptions,
weapons.
notes, and quests. Well, this is because it is a valuable resource that was discovered by the people of Huanglong after the Fernodian Wars. In building a society, there's got to be a source of food, water, or energy for it to function. In discovering this Tacitite, Huanglong saw that this special type of mineral was viable for a potent source of energy. It quickly became a keystone for innovations in energy harnessing, and this took center stage within the nation. At present, the technological devices we can see in Huanglong are all powered by this mineral of Tacitite. We see it used for their weapons, war machines like turrets or tanks. It was also used to create a new type of electronic currency and communication mediums
They have
such
a
as
legendary
holograms.
currency. What the hell?
Thanks to these inventions, Huanglong was able to survive follow-up attacks from the Fernodians. But wait, is this Tacitite sustainable for the long run? Well, surprisingly yes, because they found that Tacitite deposits were really that plentiful within Huanglong. Now, since this resource had too many benefits, Huanglong decided to use Tacitite as a valuable export for other civilizations that could be interested, and in return demand other goods that they may not have within their nation. Some nations would display great reliance with these Tacitite, such as the nation of Renacita and the new Federation. Soon,
damn.
Huanglong quickly became an economic powerhouse, as they were now the major exporter of Tacitite.
Damn, what the hell? Huanglong? Damn. Damn. They have a source of energy that is very important.
We can see this in-game where countless cargo ships are stationed on dock with the emblem of
Damn, they got
Huanglong,
lucky
and
then.
some can even be seen near the coasts of
I
Raguna.
don't think Renacita
This
has
explains
something like
why
this.
the use of tacitite weaponry is largely seen within Huanglong, but not so much for Renacita,
Renacita uses
since
Echo.
much of their
Yeah.
tacitite was focused more on echo technology. So how about the other nations?
Oh, so they still use tacitite, but they used to do echo technology instead. Interesting.
How were they established? To begin with the new
But that
federation,
just means that damn, Huanlong just had a insane monopoly then for a lot. Like the moment Huanlong stopped giving tacitite, then damn, the other nation is going to suffer a lot.
there isn't much we know what type of Frenodium they faced or how they were able to survive the First Frenodian War. We only know that they are also quite advanced and ambitious with their technological inventions. As mentioned by Mortefi, he describes the people of the new Federation as fanatics who worship the progress of technology and are so blind to this idea. Simply put,
A very high, a very technology-based country. I wonder what it's based on. What country it's based on. Country is not a name I can pinpoint what kind of nationality he will be. See, and I don't know Linus' true name also.
they are an arrogant bunch that relies on their intelligence, but we won't fully know that until we visit the nation. Now for Renacita, we only know that the early peoples of Renacita came from a fleet of ships across the sea called the Ark, and were noted to be survivors of different ethnicities or races. It's not mentioned where these survivors were originally from or when they stumbled upon the islands, but one of these were the founding members of the Physalia family, who helped in building the city of Raguna. They were known for their craft of creating deadly toxins from aquatic plants and were once the rulers of the Order of the Deep, the religious sect in Raguna. Now, I will make a separate video for this to better explain the founding of Raguna, since I want this video to mainly focus first on the nation of Huanglong.
Why? Because Huanlong already ended, I guess?
So, with all that said, how about Jinzhou? When did it originate? First, take note that Huanglong is divided into 2 regions and has 7 cities. The regions being Inner Huanglong and Outer Huanglong. The capital and 5 other cities are located at Inner Huanglong, while the most recently built city, Jinzhou, is located at Outer Huanglong. Now, after the First Frenodian Wars, as Huanglong was progressing at a fast rate, they were under constant attacks from Tacit discords. Then, at a critical moment, a Tacit field appears near the Norfolk Barrens and ravages the region. Some forces stationed in a stronghold within Outer Huanglong quickly arrived to handle the situation, and after months of grueling combat, they were reduced to only a handful of soldiers. So they retreated near the Gorges of Spirits and made their last stand. However, days passed by, and the soldiers kept on, until reinforcements from Inner Huanglong arrived. In spite of that, the wave of Tacit discords never stopped ending, and it seemed as though someone was leading these TDs towards Inner Huanglong. With the battle turning to an even ground, a crownless suddenly appears to break the stalemate and kills numerous soldiers, suffocating each of them. Still, the forces of Huanglong held the line, and were planning to destroy the entrance leading to the inner region, aware that they would be trapped and die. With luck, Juya arrives in time to reinforce the defenders, alongside a resonator with golden eyes. This person with golden eyes being our main protagonist, Rover, the first resonator. Soon both...
So when did he appear then? So from what you see that Rover it is from Hualong, from what I've seen. It feels like we don't know the nationality of Rover just yet, but Rover's it's kinda hard. So this is post lament. So interesting. We don't know when. Oh man, I really want to know the true lore of Rover, but I guess not yet. Like they just doesn't know much about Rover, but there's a chance that he is from the Lament era, and this is after the Lament era, right? I would assume. Yeah, I hope so. I'm understanding it correctly, right? I need to rewatch this if I have the chance.
Jua and Rover defeat the Crownless and put an end to the TD outbreak. After this, the leaders of Inner Huanglong decided to establish a city in Outer Huanglong to serve as its border stronghold. In naming this city, they drew inspiration from the word Guanjin, meaning the pass, symbolizing the great victory gained by Jua and the forces of Huanglong, thus resulting in Jinzhou. The city would be the newest to be built in Huanglong, with Jua becoming its sentinel. After this, the exploration report didn't mention what happened to Rover, and it's indicated that they suddenly disappeared from the history books after that. Moving on, the people decided to honor Jua for her efforts in the Fernodian Wars and decided to use her as the symbol of the nation, thus why we can see her as the emblem for Huanglong. While Jua did take this gladly, she did not want to interfere or be the one to govern the newly founded city of Jinzhou, and opted to stay far from politics as she trusted the humans to rule in her stead. Now, there is quite some confusion with sentinels and gods in the world of Wuthering Waves.
Oh, really?
It's mentioned by Yang Yang that sentinels are similar to a guardian, watching over different civilizations. While they are immortal, they do not have the same power or recognition as gods, and during the rebuilding phase of Huanglong, Jua could not find any suitable place for her to rest, so she decided to return where she was first located, in the icy mountains of Mount Firmament. Anyway, since Huanglong has 7 cities, Yang Yang mentioned that each city has a sentinel, since Jua serves as the sentinel for Jin.
Wait, what? Each city has a sentinel? Wait, you're saying that Huanglong has what?
Mentioned that each tournament. Anyway, since Huanglong has 7 cities,
Huanglong has 7 cities, meaning that Huanglong has 7 sentinels? Damn, that's a lot. What the hell? And we only know about Jinzhou. Like, there is other nations like Minting too. Oh my, damn. Huanglong is... Damn, we barely scratched the surface of Huanglong, huh? Oh my god.
Yang Yang mentioned that each city has a sentinel, since Jua serves as the sentinel for Jinzhou, a dragon in the form of a long. What about the other cities? Well, in the limited event of version 1.2, this NPC mentioned that one of the sentinels of Huanglong is in the form of a fox, whose name is Sin. Compared to Jua.
Damn, what the hell? Why is this nation so blessed? What? Like, Rina City has only 1 sentinel. What? And I don't think Rina City has more land. What? How big is it? How big is Huanglong? Damn, they're giving the Chinese nation way too many favoritism, man. What the heck? Like, it makes sense, it's a Chinese company, but damn. 7 sentinels? 7 cities? What?
Who prefers to stay away from humans, Sin is more.
I doubt the New Federation has a sentinel. Like, Lion Road doesn't even have a sentinel. That's insane. That's really insane. One nation has 7 sentinels. What? And dude, for Renesita, their sentinel is dead now. Oh, okay, that's insane.
Approachable and loves meddling with the people. Because these sentinels are all in the form of various creatures from Chinese mythology, we might expect one of them to be in the form of a
black tortoise, oh, and white tiger,
black tortoise, a phoenix, a white tiger, a vermilion bird, or a Chilean.
Ooh, Chilean.
When we visit the other cities. Now, the person that governs over each city is called the Magistrate, or Longzu, meaning Dragon Lord in the CBT1.
Oh.
In Jinzhou, their Magistrate is usually handpicked by Jua herself, and is the only person who has access to the Grand Library. According to Chisha, past magistrates have done their duties well within their terms, but there came a time when Jinzhou was left leaderless for years.
Wait,
Jua was asleep during this, and it's possible that it's because she was still injured from the battle with the Crownless.
Oh.
During this time of a leaderless Jinzhou, a deadly pandemic known as Novafei spreads within the region and causes hundreds of people to die, with numerous villages being abandoned. Then, as bad as it already was, Overtrax and the Tacit Discords also re-emerged in the Northful Barrens, and a
Bullshit,
great
bro.
battle took place. This
Oh,
was named
this
as the
motherfucker.
Battle Beneath the Crescent, where the general at that time, Geshu Lin, charged his armies towards Overtrax that led to countless soldiers dead. It was a complete disaster and humiliation for the forces of Huanglong, and Geshu Lin was never seen again after that. 3 years after that defeat, Jue finally awoke from her sleep and decided to appoint a new magistrate for Jinzhou, passing on to a teenage girl named Xi. Handpicked by Jue in her teenage years, this occurrence was something that has never been done before in all of Jinzhou's time.
Okay.
It also came as a shock to many of Jinzhou's citizens, since she has become Jue's resonator and will eventually hold the power of a magistrate. While this seems to be fortunate for someone to have all this power, for Xi, this was instead a huge burden. Taking that mantle of ruling a city as a teen is really quite overwhelming, but with the great help of her mentor in Changli, Jinzhou eventually became a more secure location, with Jinxi improving the city's defenses,
My
focusing
girl.
on Tacitite weapons technology, and helping Jinzhou
When are they going to give her dedicated support? Oh man, like I've been holding her. I like dude.
recover from the Novafay pandemic and the defeat of the battle beneath the Crescent.
It's so unfair.
At the same time, the position of a new general for the Midnight Rangers was appointed to Jin, and he learned various lessons
Like
from
when are they going to buff all the characters? Like are they just that successful to the point that they don't want to buff all the characters now?
the past one in Geshu Lin, successfully defending Jinzhou's borders. To explore the story behind the Novafay pandemic, a vaccine was developed by the Huashu Academy branch.
It's a very long video. Whoa. I didn't expect it to be this long actually. Kind of interested of this too, but yeah, let's keep watching it.
in the city, and was distributed in the form of a candy, the same
Oh.
candy that Jinshi gave to us by the start of the game. This vaccine
Oh,
was
really?
first tested on a child of 7 months old, named Shang Liao.
You okay? What?
We can read this from an archive log inside the Huashu Academy. Now, for those who don't own Shang Liao or missed when he was given as a free character in 1.2, we can read from his backstory that both of his parents were renowned figures in Jinzhou. His
Okay.
father a brilliant scientist, and his mother a life-saving doctor who made huge contributions in creating the vaccine. Coming at a critical moment, the Shanglis had to desperately use their son as the test subject for the vaccine,
That's insane. What the heck?
which fortunately for them, successfully suppressed the effects of the Novafay disease. So with Jinzhou's situation,
I guess wait, I don't know the full story, but unless I forgot his name, unless he was already getting disease and almost died, I guess that's like I thought they just experimented on him, but or use him as the first what I call just use it as a test. But there's a chance, I don't know the full story, but there's a chance that they use it because he was about to die from the Novafay disease. So yeah, I don't want to say anything just yet.
abated. Some years have passed, and the golden-eyed resonator mentioned from Huanglong history books reappears in the Gorges of Spirits, the same spot he or she once emerged from. Luckily, an outrider
Wait, the same person? Okay.
named Yang Yang spots them and thus begins the foundation for Wuthering Waves. That said, I hope I've made it clear in summarizing the origin story of both Solaris and Huanglong.
So
With that, how about let's explore the different groups or factions within Jinzhou.
Okay.
So, in the city, let's start with the Huashu Academy, a research branch of Huanglong who studies all different sorts of things such as Tacitite weaponry, biology, or Tacit Discord anatomy. They were the first
damn, I feel like this thing can be different, a separate video about Huan Long, but damn, he really explained everything about Huan Long, huh?
to create these resonance nexus, which reveal our map when activated, since it connects to a person's Pangu terminal, giving them access to its coordinates. We can find the first nexus inside one of their branches in Jinzhou here. As a quick info, if you've done the quest series, Listen to Animals, it's noted there that they are currently working on an animal translator, which is a bit unnecessary, but quite funny. Characters such as Mortefi, Baija, and Zhang Liao are from this faction.
Oh,
Moving on to
okay.
Lolo Logistics. As their name
Oh.
implies, they are a courier company that delivers materials and
Isn't that
transports
girl
goods
from there?
across
I
the
forgot her
6
name.
nations on foot. Since the game
They look so funny. Like, is it necessary to put that ear?
is inspired from
On-
Death Stranding, I have a feeling Kuro added this group as a reference to that.
Oh,
You can
really?
find their
Oh.
numerous merchants with white gold luggages traveling all over Huanglong. But why not use vehicles for transport instead?
Yeah.
This is because most of the roads in Huanglong are often blocked due to abnormal formations of tacit fields, and traveling on foot is more secure. So far, the only character we have that comes from this group is Lumi.
Lumi, yeah.
Onto the Public Security Bureau is Jinzhou's government branch that investigates crimes and manages public
What's
order.
happening
From
here?
Jinzhou's story quest, they were the ones who handled the selling of counterfeit paintings and arrested the suspect. Some of them are also involved in undercover work with the NPC Chan Chan and Yinlin as examples, turning into Mission Impossible spies for Jinzhou. So far, the characters we have from this group are Yinlin
I knew it.
and Chisha.
Tembo
To share a
friend
bit of lore for Chisha, in her youth, her real name is actually Ma
Ma
Xiaofeng,
Xiaofeng.
and migrated to Jinzhou from the Central Plains years before. At some point, Chisha was saved by a member of the Public Security Bureau, who was revealed to be Yinlin. Inspired by her, Chisha decided to train and join the same department
I didn't know that.
years later, gaining the position of a Jinzhou patroller. Going now to the Pioneer Association. Similar to the Adventurers Guilds of Genshin, they are the central
forgot
hub
this.
for exploration and offer rewards.
To the Pioneer, I don't remember at all. Like, it feels so... Like, is it even important? Like, at least the Adventurers Guild. Like, we know the guild.
One thing
The
interesting
Pioneer one, like, bro, I forgot that it is this actually.
about them is that the group was founded even before the lament happened.
Even before the lament. Okay, what the hell? Even before the lament happened? Okay, that's insane, law. What?
And were originally called the Universal Geographic Society, or UGS. From this NPC Zhuyi, he mentions the Icebreakers, somewhat the highest tier in the Pioneer Association. These Icebreakers were renowned for discovering ice glaciers, volcanoes, and were even the first to witness powerful tacit discords. It will be interesting if we'll ever have a character that is a member of these Icebreakers. Now, the only character we have from this group is Verena. Now,
What, Verena? Wait, what? From the Pioneer Association?
the Midnight Rangers.
What? Only Verena? What?
The Midnight
I thought it's the Adventurers Guild. What? Verena Chan is the only one that is from that group.
Rangers are divided into subgroups, with the vanguards as the soldiers who fight on the front lines, the logistics support who manages the goods, the outriders who are basically the scouts of the group, and the rearguard who performs guard duties in the city. So far, the general of the Midnight Rangers is Jian, with Yang Yang as one of the outriders. With Danjin, I think she's also one of the
Danji is one of the Outriders? Damn. Where is she then? She never appeared in the story.
outriders, since she seems to operate on her own and provides intel to her group. Lastly, let's talk about the Court of Savante. This
Oh, of course, Savante.
is a scientific
Didn't they die?
research organization that is not involved with Huanglong or other nations. They perform bizarre
Yeah, it
experiments
is.
and
I know it.
focus
It's
research in
where we go with Alto.
automata mechanics, which is a field where they assemble types of different machinery in an abnormal way. We can see an example of this with the Mech Abomination, which eventually malfunctioned and caused their deaths. Most members of the Court of Savante also studied the Retroac Rain, and this is because they relished in reliving their past memories, turning it into their unending obsession. In reading Zhang Liao's story, his father was a member of this group and was a genius.
His father was in this group? What the hell? Hey, dude, you create a vaccine and now you do some I don't think all the members of the Court of Savante is evil, but...
Scientist. 2 days before we arrived in Huanglong, Zhang Liao visited the Court of Savante to investigate his father's sudden disappearance. Upon arriving at the abandoned facility, he saw different types of advanced technologies that even Huanglong didn't have. Exploring deeper, he activated a certain trap that cut off his arm.
Oh, that's how... Damn, okay, that's insane. So he get that mechanical arm after he tried to find his father that he disappeared.
He returned to Jinjo. His arm was then replaced with a prosthetic one. So, anyways, for the Court of Savante, we currently have no characters involved with this group.
Oh.
Now, let's end the video here, but there will be more coming soon, with Renacita and the Black Shores in mind. I'm really sorry for the long wait for this video. It took me a bit of time to return to playing games and adjust with the daily schedule of going to work and making content. It's definitely a new change of pace, quite different from when I was still in college. Anyways, so far in playing Wuthering Waves, I never expected to really enjoy much of my playtime. Ever since I first played it back in May of 2024, it didn't quite catch much of my attention and felt that the story and its presentation was too bland. I still remembered that awful delivery of the female rover in the arrest scene of Scar. While I'm aware it's the voice director's fault for not informing the voice actress, it's just this memorable moment I can think of when I was playing this game in version 1.0.
Was it that bad? 1.1.0?
Where I still kept playing, and mainly because I began to grind for pulls as soon as I saw Yinlin's banner. Then for version 1.1, there were definitely some improvements with the writing of the story, especially how they handled Jinchi's arc. After that, a lot of things began to get my attention, and I decided to uninstall Wuthering Waves. Fast forward to version 2.1,
Okay.
and I decided to install it again.
Okay, this guy. This guy is like me too, I guess. But at least he knows the law. Like what? Interesting.
And maybe see what the hype was about. Turns out,
For that guy.
it felt as though I was now playing a different game. The UI was changed, a whole ton of QNL additions,
What? Did it? I don't think the UI changed that much.
and the quality and flow in the story writing really felt immersive. Since then, I've collected every chest, done every puzzle, and finished every quest. I've realized that the exploration in this game is not that tedious, especially with the addition of gliding mechanics for Renacita. It just makes the game experience so enjoyable, and I can't wait for the upcoming region in Septimont. With that, I
Oh,
just
this was before Septimon. Interesting.
wanted to share a bit of my experience in this game, and it's what made me decide to finally edit this video. Now, I will still be making content and lore videos for Genshin Impact, so don't
Oh,
worry.
he does content for Genshin. Oh, I don't know that, but his war video is good though. Like for Genshin, I will obviously pick Ashikai or usually Ashikai for it. Because I think they just explain better. But yeah, I guess that's all of it, right? You have nothing to
Guys,
say, right?
I'm not saying that I'll be leaving just because I enjoyed playing a different game. No, it's not that. I'm aware of the constant drama and comparisons for both games, but I just want to make some content and videos for you guys to watch, and hopefully help in better grasping the different stories, quests, characters, and more. So anyways, if you've reached this part of the video, thank you very much for watching, and we'll wait for you in
Hey, is it? I want to see. Is there there's this one, test the Discord and where to find them and Sentinel. It's not really good. Is there other like is there a playlist about for Wuthering Waves? Yep, there is.
in the fractured world.
It's little. Wow, no. He barely does it. Oh man, and it's gonna be hard to find good. Oh, this is very. Oh damn. Oh damn, he hasn't done any content for a long time. Whoa, only now that this one, kind of interesting. Damn, but yeah, good video to be honest. I enjoy it. Oh, there's a
Worlds of Wuthering Waves, where sound and
interesting. I think. Wait, let's not talk about it. I learned a lot from it to be honest about the timeline a bit. I just and like it seems that everything that happened with the Trinidad War and everything was after the lament. It's just that we don't know when does Resonator exist. Maybe he wasn't really that when during his time when he did the video. Maybe there's more clues of what, especially Lara Roy. I feel like the Lara Roy should have more clues of when the first resonator or when the resonator starts appearing. Like he's considered the first resonator. Like Rover is still considered the first resonator, and it was happened during the time with the Trinodian War when he first appeared as the Golden Eye person. So does that mean that the resonators started to appear after the Lament era? Who knows? But yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching, guys. Enjoy. Please subscribe. I appreciate it to see more of my content. Yeah, peace out.